This is the all-new iPhone 17. And this, and this, and this. The iPhone 17 line is gonna have a new look for the first time in a long time, and Apple is hoping that that new look and some other new under-the-hood features are finally gonna be enough to sort of get them back on top and make the iPhone just exciting again. Look, I'm an Apple fanboy, but even I've got to admit the last couple of weeks have not been kind to Apple. They've been making some big mistakes, maybe some apologies are in order, but Apple's hoping things are going to turn around with the iPhone 17, and now as we get closer and closer to the official unveil, we basically know pretty much everything there is to know about all of the iPhone 17 models launching this fall. So I've got all the leaks and rumors compiled. I've went and done all the digging so you don't have to. So let me make it easy and fun in this video. Here's everything you need to know about the iPhone 17 launching this September. So the first thing you need to know about the iPhone 17 lineup is that things are gonna look a little bit different this year in terms of design and also the models available for you to buy. And the first new model we may see actually might be a bit of a curveball, and that is an iPhone 17e. Now this could definitely go one of two ways. Given the fact that the iPhone 16e is like literally not even a month old at this point, I'm not sure if it really needs an update and sort of needs new silicon and camera upgrades and things like that. But given the fact that it's got the 16 moniker attached to the name, sort of lends some credibility to the idea that this could be receiving more regular updates, either in the fall with all the other phones, or maybe this is a phone that Apple sort of updates every spring. With the iPhone SE, that phone got very random updates at very random times, but also it wasn't really tied to the mainstream phones because it was sort of the special edition iPhone SE. But this is a little bit of a different story here with the 16e. So I definitely think there's a good shot we could see an iPhone 17e come in the spring of next year, sort of before the every other year tradition we used to see, or maybe Apple just sort of keeps everything in line and it does a 17e in September along with the other phones. Not sure which way this one's gonna go, but definitely something to keep on your radar for later on this fall. But then we move on to more of the juicy stuff with the first official iPhone 17 in the lineup we know we're getting, and that is the iPhone 17. No iPhone 17 mini, no iPhone 17 Plus, just the regular old iPhone 17. And there is some good news and bad news here you need to know with this phone. Now, the bad news is that this likely will not be getting any significant redesign. The upcoming iPhone 17 Air I'll talk about in a moment, and the Pros will be getting, either love it or hate it, some different design on the outside, but the iPhone 17 is likely going to stay pretty much the same with what we've got right now. But the good news there, the exception to that, is while the design is gonna be basically the same, there's gonna be finally a bunch of quality of life improvements that'll make this phone feel way more premium and way more worth its price. ProMotion 120Hz is finally coming to a non-Pro iPhone in 2025, likely bringing the always-on display mode as well. We're also hearing talk of some camera upgrades, specifically a 24-megapixel selfie camera upgrade to make your selfie, photos, and videos look even better. I'd expect, of course, some new silicon inside of here, better battery life, and then maybe if Apple wants to continue to expand their experimentation with the Apple C1 chip, if they didn't want to go with the Pro phones and risk sort of a bigger user base, maybe this would be a good phone to test next, given that the iPhone 17 is likely not going to be as popular as the Air Slim model / Pro. So maybe that's something we could see as well, but that's probably the least exciting iPhone we're expecting to launch this fall. The second phone in the lineup is set to probably be the star of the show. It's what's got the internet most excited right now, and that is an all-new iPhone 17 Air or iPhone 17 Slim. We don't exactly know what the name is gonna be for this phone, but the theme is gonna be all about slimness, thinness, lightness, and definitely doing something different. As you can see from the renders, everything we know about this phone is that Apple is really doubling down on making this live up to the Slim or Air name. It's not gonna have all the bells and whistles of a Pro iPhone, so it's not gonna have triple cameras, and the design is gonna be a bit different, and I don't know if battery life is gonna suffer or not given its thin and lightweight design, but if you're a fan of thin and lightweight phones, this is going to be the phone for you because Apple is really going all in on this new thin and lightweight design for this middle tier iPhone. And there is some exciting stuff to like about this phone. For one, if you really like this design, then you're gonna love this thing. If you were a fan of the thin phones back in the day, maybe any iPhone 6 fans out there, you're gonna like this. It's gonna have a relatively large display. I think we're hearing between 6.5 and 6.7 inches right now. Apple was trying to push that a little bit more, but then they ran into some concerns with bending, and if you remember the days of Bendgate, you remember that Apple didn't like any controversy surrounding that phone, so they're not gonna go through that again. So they're gonna keep it more structurally sound, but it's gonna get this new design and overall be just a really cool looking phone that's gonna be very different. Of course, the typical new things will be here. We'll get some new Apple Silicon inside. I'm really curious to see what battery life is going to be on this phone. Of course, they're gonna have an OLED display, ProMotion, Dynamic Island will be here. Maybe talk of a smaller, sort of Dynamic Island cutout, but that is sort of TBD right now. And then the other big thing with this is what's going to be the price? I'm really curious to see how the price of the iPhone lineup might be changing this year, given the fact there's no Plus phone and you don't want to make the iPhone 17 Slim and iPhone 17 too close in price because you don't want to cannibalize one over the other. So I'm curious to see how pricing changes this year. But this is going to be the middle tier phone this year that's definitely going to have a new look, new feel, and should be something totally different and new. And if you've been waiting for that, then this is the year you should finally be getting it. And then finally, at the very top of the lineup, the last two phones that are gonna get you to spend the most amount of money, the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. The Pro phones are the only phones getting a 2 size screen option, same 6.3 and 6.9 screen options, but those are the only phones in the lineup to retain that. And then the things with this phone that are unique are going to be interesting. It's gonna have that new design, like the iPhone 17 Air. It's gonna have like this new camera bar on the back, maybe a two-tone design. That could sort of be cool. We're hearing that all phones could be getting the selfie camera upgrade. There's been talk of maybe a better telephoto lens system on the 17 Pro than we've gotten before. Maybe we get 8K video recording. That's been a rumor for a while. But in addition to sort of the Pro camera stuff we've had and the new sort of silicon upgrades and things like that, not exactly sure what's gonna make the iPhone 17 Pro really significantly different from the 17 Air and the iPhone 17. It might really just come down to having a third camera lens. If you really value telephoto, that might be the only phone to have it. And then there's some other things Apple could do. Maybe they do finally bring reverse wireless charging here and make that a Pro exclusive feature. Maybe it's got some special Apple cell modem thing. Not sure what the special secret sauce could be with the 17 Pro, but it will be getting a new design. It will be getting other upgrades that we would always expect. Silicon upgrades, RAM, battery life, all the usual stuff. I think really the big question here that Apple's gonna be very curious to see the answer of is if this is enough to get people not only to sort of buy a new iPhone and upgrade, but also is this design change and these, features under the hood enough to get people excited about the iPhone again? Because then when you look at the Android world and what other manufacturers are doing and all the experimentation that other companies have been doing in this space, it seems like Apple has been very severely lagging behind. And when you add in sort of some lackluster hardware updates to some really big software issues, Apple really needs a winner on their hands, and I think they're really hoping this new design change is going to be enough to make the iPhone 17 way more exciting, and hopefully better cameras and better, processors and battery life. All that should just make the experience better. But I'm curious for you guys, what do you think? Is a new design and the features I talked about, are they enough to get you excited about the iPhone again? Are you going to be upgrading to an iPhone 17, 17 Slim, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max? And if you had to give Tim Cook some advice, what would that be? What is the one big thing that Apple should do with the iPhone 17 that would get you excited and get you to spend some money to upgrade? I'm curious. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I'm Harper Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.